Welcome to Detroit Comics Party. I'm Kevin, and this is the show where we put the speakers right behind the guests so the intro music scares them very badly. What up? This is episode 73, I think. This is Dan Jones. Hello, Dan Jones.
Good evening. How are you all?
Pumped.
Don't look at me. I don't know how I
Trying
am.
to get pumped.
We're pumped. We're very pumped. That's the prognosis. What's up? This is a special episode, isn't it?
Special.
Special?
Oh, God, what's the
In
word?
that we're doing a transaction of some kind.
Capitalism excitement hour.
Capitalism excitement hour. Boop, 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 boop,
It's
boop.
capitalism in action right here for the people to see. It's great.
That's right.
or maybe it's going back. We're now in a bartering society.
Yeah, bartering society. Water world it is. We're going to trade a little lemon tree for power cell.
Yes.
I brought a ski-doo. It's outside.
Yay! Is it modded, dude?
Absolutely. It's the
Is
only
it
way
harpoons?
it rolls.
Harpoons out the ass everywhere.
Flamethrowers and whatnot. Yeah,
Sick.
absolutely.
So, So there's some stuff on the table.
But let's
which probably
give
no one
the
can
reason
see.
why we are all in the same room
Yeah.
at the same time.
You
So-
tell me.
So there's this record player that's cool as hell, and it's for sale on Craigslist, and I have to have it. And my dude is saying, I will also trade for cassettes or art. And I was like, this is a match made in freaking heaven. And now you're here giving me a record player, possibly trading for comics and tapes, and being a guest on the show. But we also have probably been at the same place at the same time many occasions.
I'm sure there's some intersection of weirdos that we know and whatnot. Yeah, to
We
be
figured
sure.
it's probably impossible that we've never seen each other in the same room.
Yeah, I think it's very, very possible. To be clear, I made sure that I wanted to do this transaction on different modalities. So I was going through not only Craigslist, which is old school for us old heads, but also Facebook Marketplace. I got no bites. on Facebook Marketplace.
Pays to have weird, out-of-date taste in
Yeah.
technology, I guess.
And each thing has its own best marketplace. Like Facebook Marketplace, good for some stuff, bad for other stuff.
Well, you know clearly a lot more, or at least a lot more pumped about this turntable than I am. Not just it served me very well over quite a number of years. I think I've had that thing for 10 years at this point.
Yeah.
But what do you think is so kick-ass about that turntable?
This model is rare in America.
Mm-hmm.
It's more common in Japan and the UK, where Vestax is a Japanese company, which would make sense why it's a lot in Japan. And UK had a bunch of bigger DJ culture in the end of the 90s and the early 2000s when this company was popping. But that was also when I was like coming of age, when Vestax had all the sickest, weirdest products. And, we were like making my friend's mom drive us to the DJ supply store in Warren so we could just look at the stuff on the shelf. Because clearly, like, as 8th graders, we, like, couldn't afford the shit,
Yeah.
But we could look at it, and it was like... But it, like, entranced my imagination. Like, how long ago is that? That's 25 years ago now. And, like, it's still... Now that I have a job where I make a little bit of money, where I have extra money to buy a toy, like, I'm back on, like, collected the shit and living amongst it, and...
I get it. My dream vehicle is a drawing of a car from a book called Cross Country Cat.
What?
I don't know. It's a book about a cat that loves skiing, but the vehicle has big tires and it looks like a tank.
That's
and the
fucking
cat
sick.
is driving it for some reason.
The vehicle plays like super solidly into this entire narrative.
No, it's inconsequential to the narrative.
Okay.
But it's I understand having a thing you saw when you were a kid that you want. At least yours is real.
It's real and has been manifested in front of you right here.
Oh, yeah.
Look at it. It's beautiful.
Dan's manifesting some good shit in here.
I'm trying. But so the idea is that I brought some cool stuff and you've brought some cool stuff today.
I tried.
I don't know much about what you brought besides your borderline incomprehensible descriptions
Yes.
of the music that the music that you've brought today. Having said that, incredibly intriguing. Would you care to tell me a little bit about, particularly, well, I mean the LPs and the cassettes, because I want to know about this.
Sure. All right. Speed round.
Yeah.
Describing stuff.
Here.
Do you have
I'm
top,
putting
or-
this here. I will
there
try
we
to
go, okay.
look at you.
Okay. So this is the Beanstalker's Picture of the Past record. It's I think it's Pauly Moonbeam's newest release, but it's like 2 covers of Picture of the Past by the Barking Spiders, which was like an 80s high school band. And it's just acoustic guitar and voice, and I think there's like a sampler part, but like it was mastered and pressed at Archer and is accidentally like the most sonically fantastic audiophile artifact I've ever freaking heard. And he recorded it with a DRO5, that little hard disk recorder, just in his living room. And it's all the things add up to something that should be a 4-track tape hiss nightmare, and it's fucking sonically fantastic and has a bunch of history, and the Beanstalkers have been going for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Fruit Loops is their single-sided EP. They're like total skronk freak out art rock, but like with rapid trap snare rushes and like a super fantastic drummer who's like schizo fast drumming, but then also has like the sampler pad going. And Jackie the singer is like super conceptual artist, but also like a turbo babe, and the vocal style is almost like something beyond rap, but it's like this rhythmic freak out voice. It's the best. Oh, and this is the Need Ya 12-inch by Pauly Moonbeam, which was his first vinyl record from probably the mid 90s maybe, and it's like kind of Italo-y, but with kind of more of a MIDI sound card type
Oh, it's just
sound
white.
set.
I'm like driving the camera
like-
over towards it.
Why can't I pick up this image?
Well,
Okay.
it's a white label,
All right.
and Bongos and Flutes is only here because I put it on it was in the handful.
That's actually a great label, though.
Okay, I could go all day. All right. Full Walrus is, I in the email to you, I said file under Bright Eyes Alternatives.
Yes, that's what I saw.
And I think,
I knew
it zooms
immediately
out.
what you meant, though. Yeah.
but it's some dudes who I think these are the guys who were like, they were on tour and they played at Lager House, and then after their show they were like, so we could sleep on your couch, right? And I had to tell some like hot teens like, sorry, I'm a grown up, I gotta fucking work in the morning, like
Yeah.
you can't crash. But yes,
Y'all gotta go. Great show. You gotta get the fuck out of here.
but it's got like good slide guitar and reverb pedal and kind of good songwriting,
Sure.
and maybe a little bit on the nose cafe open mic singing voice style, but I like it. I listen to that for all the negative shit that all the shade I said. I do listen to
All
it.
about it. When I was in college, I went to Eastern Michigan.
Yeah.
And one of my friends, one of his songwriting heroes was this guy named Paleo from back in the day. Does that ring a bell to either of you folks?
Faraway Bell.
Yeah. And he's a New York-based dude, and he was doing like a tour, just sleeping in his car, like going around, and he was doing some shows in Ypsilanti and Ann Arbor, and he was going to be all around the Detroit metro area, and he was older than us at the time. He was in his late 20s. He couldn't find anybody else to put him up, and so every night without fail, he just knocked on our back door and was like, "Hey guys, need a couch to crash on again." And every time, we didn't want to put him out, but every time, this dude was just like in our house for a fucking week.
Yeah.
It was
Well-
and he wasn't a sexy teenager, so it was
Right.
like, it felt less uncomfortable to have him stay there, but still. Sorry, I interrupted your flow. You're talking about
Oh no!
tape.
As somebody who, when I was young, I would go on tours and be that guy.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
So I'm crashing. I'll sleep on the floor where I just played at.
Mm-hmm.
And now,
Being comics guys, we've
And
been
then-
those guys, and then the other people are like, hey, we're coming around. Like, can we stay at your house? It's like,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
We always expect people to put us up, and we never put other
Never
people up.
reciprocate.
No. Even people who are best friends, like Nate McDonough, who's like the greatest living American comics artist. He's from Pittsburgh. I think he came visit to Detroit and was like, "Can I sleep on your couch?" And I told him no, just because I'm telling everybody no. Nobody's invited.
Can't start a trend. The expectation begins.
Hey, listen, nobody's invited.
Though I did. How long did I have the Forest House? 5 years. I ran that.
Yeah, I think that counts. Like
I did my whole life.
Your
worth
karmic sleepover meter is very high just from that period. I feel like
We had a pretty big house in Royal Oak.
Okay.
In the yuppie era of Royal Oak,
Mm-hmm.
but it was all crust punks and drunk wildcats
it was
and
a
art kids.
huge anachronism.
I haven't been to that house, but I've been to that house. You know
Oh
what
yeah,
I'm saying?
everyone's
yeah,
been
yeah,
to
yeah.
that house. I thought it was nice. It had nice, good irony because it was in the middle of the richest community in the country.
Yeah, sure.
I'd be like, "Oh, how's that weird little kid that had a dismantled bike in your front living room doing?" He's like, "Oh man, well his dad moved. Kinda sucks."
All right, Memory.
Okay, what
this
are we
is-
looking at?
This is Bad Night single by Memory Blank, which is Sean Duffy, who was in like a million seminal
Yeah.
Detroit rock bands. He was in one that was famous. God, what the fuck was it? He rolled with all the X Records guys. With I can't remember the guy's name. Scott Dunkerley and X Records.
yeah.
Thanks for looking at me anyway. Like, maybe you was gonna know that.
It demonstrates a lot of confidence. It's nice.
But like rock, like kind of like rock guy turns minimal synth and does almost like it's like synth arpeggio, dong 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 dong, but with kind of like vamping leads on it, and it's like it's real short, which I almost feel like this either needs 8 more songs on it, or each of these 2 songs to be 18 minutes long each.
Oh, so that's like a 15-minute tape or something like that? Yeah.
I think it says runtime 15 minutes.
Okay.
On it. And it's 2 songs. And Lovaterax. This is like some French cats that like played with my girlfriend's band.
Right. I'm not even going to pretend to be remotely familiar, but
They're like French adult. But they had like torn clothes that were also maybe homemade and fashion. Which I thought was cool.
Nice.
And Adult came and would like wigged everybody out because they're just like, it's like everyone's just trying to like have a beer at the bar and like listen to music, and then Adult is like from like they conduct themselves like they're fucking from space, and it like just makes the atmosphere like weirder.
I was just trying to hang out, man. Like,
I don't.
It's like, okay, be good. They're
Right.
here.
And this is the Fruit Loops Lemon Party full-length tape, which is brilliant, but you got to just listen to it on Bandcamp because there's something wrong with the manufacturing process of this tape where the gain is like nothing. It's like hiss with like a little bit of the sound in the background. And God, what is my man's name who does this? Who's that guy? Scott, a different Scott. Scott Boatwright?
I'm not
Scott
sure.
Boatwright's record label, Brain Ticket Death, did this real high profile. Oh, hey, Chris. Did this real high profile record that has like 80s archival, like Music Concrete Nocturnal Emissions record on it. It has a newer track by The Haters, which is like important harsh noise guys. And then it has a dude from The Boredoms doing a track and a dude from Acid Mother's Temple doing another track.
well, that's dope.
And they're wild.
What was there was one because again you sent me an email about with these wild descriptions where I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to check this stuff out. That one you said you're a harsh noise guy, but one of those was just being a harsh noise guy. You were almost embarrassed to say a little too much on the harsh
That's
side.
the Haters
for you.
track
Yeah.
on this 4-way split is like the Haters live was like weird performance art and they had all these like actions to go with the sound.
Yeah, sure.
And I thought that made it a little more like engaging, but this is like just completely brutal, like the for 10 minutes. I don't know.
There's a place for that. Might not be for me, but that's okay.
I love the haters in general.
sure.
This one isn't doing it for me, but everything else on that
Okay.
is phenomenal. And then Edit Tricks. I can't remember the person's name that is Edit Tricks, but how did I describe it? Like Weezer Blue Album Pixies Riot Girl, but by somebody who's like a super classically trained guitarist and has a avant-garde guitar record on Ipecac Records, which is a big deal.
And that's a cool cover. I like the cover art on that too.
And this is Life Suite by the Beanstalkers, which is Pauly Moonbeam's masterpiece LP.
Cool.
It's the weirdest pop music with samplers and drum machines and acoustic guitar, and Pauly's been an active outsider artist in Detroit for like way over 30 years now.
Rad.
So now we get out the scale.
Right,
we
yeah.
balance the turntable.
Exactly. And then they also brought some Comix with an X and some other arty looking stuff. Mm-hmm. We'll have to figure this out because obviously we don't need to be too transactional. Like transactional around here, we're among friends. But again, I wonder what this scale is going to be because I have no frame of reference for what kind of.
For the price of art?
Yeah, for the price of art. Well, first of all, it's priceless. Yeah. Give me your car.
We're all on the same page there.
All right. Well, we'll think. We can think about this. I'm incredibly interested in just about
Fade to
everything that
black.
you've got right there. Yeah, fade to black.
But this, a question of mine. If you're interested in, you traveled here from your house is like not super close to where we are right
no, I'm
now.
in Detroit. I'm in Detroit. Yeah.
But like, if you traveled here for maybe 8 tapes or a couple records, is your pad like? My tape collection is 900 noise tapes and avant-garde music tapes, and my record collection I worry that the floor is going to collapse.
No, nothing like that. I'm somewhere in the neighborhood of I'm a serious collector in the opinion of those who have no interest in this sort of thing. Among those who have a very strong interest in this sort of thing, I am but a piker. I mean, I feel like when it comes to especially tapes, these are this is the kind of stuff that I feel like it moves along, right? You can trade things. Mm-hmm. It's this stuff is impermanent in some ways. So I hear something cool. I have something. I feel bad. I should have brought some stuff over to see if I could do a little barter with you. But this stuff is somewhat impermanent for me. So I mean, I've got 150 tapes or something like that, and somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 records or something like that. And it's always going in. Everything's always going in and out because in part because I want to keep my fiance not incredibly upset with me in our household.
Just medium.
Yes, I've got a medium collection.
Yeah, right.
Medium upset.
Yeah, nice ground to establish a relationship on. Medium upset.
A long time ago, I had a lot of records, and then
Then that kid's dead.
No, this is Center Street story.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I had a lot of records, and I lived in an apartment,
Yeah.
and then I didn't pay rent for 3 months.
Yikes.
And the landlord called me at 2 p.m. and said, I'm going to be home at 5, and if you're still here and don't have my rent money, I'm going to kick your ass. And so I moved out
Very professional.
between 2 and 5 p.m. on that day. I moved out, leaving behind what I would estimate to be close to 20,000 records.
What? You could have just given him 5,000 records, and that would have more than paid for your rent.
His
Say,
sideline.
listen, records are money, landlord.
What don't you understand?
Landlords, legendary lovers of things that aren't money.
Well, that's the thing. His sideline was selling books on Amazon.
What?
So I bet all my records he rinsed them on Amazon.
100%,
Yeah.
100%, and he had no he had no kind of personal connection to these things, so he just
Oh yeah, yeah,
Those
yeah.
He's out
things
of the
out the
damn
door.
landlord business now.
yeah.
He
But-
just loves records now.
This is how I collect records. The thrift store is nickel day at the thrift store.
Oh yeah.
And I see people go to Found Sound, and it's like, I bought the new Billie Eilish LP for $29.99, and it's like, for $29.99, I got 5
the
milk
whole
crates
store.
of garbage. You know, yeah.
I got 15 disco records that you've never heard of. Yeah, so I mean, I'm trying to kind of figure out where I was talking with somebody who used to, big Discogs guy, who used to work at a now defunct Detroit record shop. I won't mention names of anything, but I was having, he's quite a collector. He's very very good at what he does.
Media play.
And what was the name of the place up at like 11 and a half that was there forever? Next to the Red Wing Shoes on Woodward.
Oh,
Gosh.
I used to sell CDs there all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
It was an FYE before it went out of business,
Yeah,
but it was another name
prior to
that
that.
was really...
Yeah, it was a Sam
Like a
Good. It was a
long time
Sam
ago?
Goody or something like that. Anyway, he worked at this guy worked at some independent spot in Detroit for a long time, and he now works at a bar that I go to from time to time. And I was telling him, I had a couple of sodas, and I was telling him, I was like, yeah, I'm trying to get in more of the record kind of thing, trying to really build the collection, that sort of thing. He's like, all right, what you need to know is don't buy new records. I'm like, don't worry, I'm not doing that. Like
Right.
that's not happening. He's like, also, just start going to the dollar bins and getting everything that nobody else wants.
Oh, yeah.
And that's my big downfall is that I have specific tastes and, unfortunately for me, I like jazz, and jazz is like the most expensive genre of vinyl that
Yeah.
you can possibly buy. So it's just wiping me. It's just like wiping me out nowadays. And it's why I keep a separate bank account from my significant other.
Yep.
You heard it here, folks.
Well, I don't know. We have separate bank accounts, and I think it's good because I think if I saw the other side of the fence, or if we saw each other's other side of the fence, we would both be, respectively, fucking mortified.
Does anyone our age-ish have a joint bank account anymore? It just seems insane to me.
I have a joint bank account with my fiance, but we also maintain separate bank accounts. We
well,
do them.
us too, but it's just like that's a joint saving.
That's where
our-
we pay our
you know,
water bill
yeah.
from and like all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
That's the
I
stupidest
just can't
conversation
imagine.
this show's ever
Yeah,
had.
it really
bank
was.
account paying
Yeah,
our water
it
bill.
was.
Fuck
This is way
conversation.
too domestic for this studio. I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm doing. Sorry, I'm ruining the vibe.
Yeah, fuck money. Zines are money.
I was. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, what are the zines we got over here though?
Yeah, what zines do
We got a pile of. Last time we saw Paracel, we got a pile of books from him. Where I don't know why we got so many books from him. I think he was under the impression that he owed me books for something. But he gave me a bunch of these books. He's like, "Do you have this one?" I was like, "I don't know, dude. You have 900 issues. Like, yeah, I probably have some of those." But Paracel's like the most brilliant satirist I've ever seen.
I'm completely unfamiliar.
And what you're
so-
you're a literature professor?
Yeah, I'm an.
You
I'm,
said
I'm
you're
a-
illiterate, or you're an illiterate.
I'm an illiterate professor.
But
Yeah, I teach English. I teach English, but like composition and rhetoric, I don't. They don't let since I'm adjunct. They don't let me teach the literature classes. Those are all for the up there folks.
If you don't have a monocle.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't have a monocle, if you don't have a monocle, they're unwilling to let you sit in literature classes.
Yeah, Paracel is the best. And it's all highly, highly topical Detroit-specific stuff.
Oh, all right. I'm into it.
and totally
Very
cutting.
good.
But like, oh, this book is Guest House by John Drawdoer. How would you describe that, Kevin?
I gotta look at it again.
It's this dude is got
yeah.
the coolest
This one's
personality.
great. You should just look in.
I'm just gonna look at it real quick.
You tell us what it is.
Oh wow.
He's the king of Chicago.
But yeah, John Drawdoer runs Cake in Chicago, which is like one of the premier small press and indie comics trade shows.
My inclination towards like a lot, I love indie comics, and I don't have anywhere near the kind of literacy in it that you folks do. It's more of a, when I see something interesting, I pick it up. Some of the stuff that I find most interesting that I think is like correct me if I'm wrong, but I think accounts for like a lot of underground comics is this like intersection of autobiographical and obsessions. Right, and where their minds go when they let their minds go down that hallway of their obsessions or whatever, then bringing it back, then melding it back into their autobiographical stuff, and that's the stuff that I find really interesting a lot of the time.
It's awesome to read John's books too, because like I think the earlier ones are more abstract and about thinking and about meditating and stuff, and then as it goes forward, it has that same way of talking about things, but it is more directly autobiographical. But I don't know, it's cool. I like seeing that. There's some of both of those things in a lot of indie comics, but I think the good ones, like, they go back and forth between those, and kind of mix them together.
Just like with any literature, I mean, like you start getting too narcissistic, and it just gets nobody can relate to, and it's boring. So like.
Yeah, I would never.
as you two host a public access cable show.
This little too self-referential.
Yikes!
Uh-oh.
That one is Laid to the Bone, which is the first comic that we collaborated on.
Oh, cool!
So that's the one where Kevin did the drawings and I did the writing.
Love it. Page 2, and she said, "Spit in my mouth to cheer me up." All about it.
Yeah.
All right, already dig it.
Hey.
But that's a lot of things where it's like it's not directly autobiographical. It's not a book of a moment that happened exactly, but it's like, this happened to my friend in this way, and this is 10 events that happened in my life that are all smashed into 10 pages. Like, it's collapsing and folding time and people into those two characters.
Yeah, I need to be more. It's something. My fiance is more into graphic, graphic novels and comics than I am. Not to say it's not something that I dig. It's just I haven't taken the time to like understand the genre as well as I should have. But that is the cool thing about. There is something about having it. Because I read a lot, but I don't do as many comics, and there is something different that I can't articulate right now. That when you have the pictures going with the words, that's an incredibly dumb thing to say, but it does feel somewhat like a different way to express yourself than just straight up writing on a page.
Sounds like a smart thing to say I read a lot.
Yeah,
I read not at all.
What? We all read a lot.
Yeah,
everybody in this room.
The
we all read
the
a
new
lot.
Tucker Max book.
Right.
It's really solid. Tell you what. That was that guy who wrote "I Hope There's Beer in Hell" maybe 15 years ago. It's like frat lit is how it's been. Described. Yeah.
The closest to frat lit I would get would be like the early Bret Easton Ellis books.
This is way more lowbrow than that. This is way more lowbrow than that. I can assure you.
We're out of time. I don't have a cool outro.
Oh,
But
well,
this was great.
fun as hell, dude.
Looking
Thank you
forward
for
to
coming.
the really fucking
Did a half hour really just go by?
gritty negotiations that are
Literary
about to go
criticism,
down.
capitalism, it's all right here,
That's
man.
right, folks. All right, thanks for watching Detroit Comics Party. We'll see you next time.
Everyone wave at the
Goodbye.
wrong camera.
Goodbye.